Right now, you are doing something no human being in the history of this species was ever supposed to do. You are sitting still, alone, staring at a glowing rectangle, and you feel completely normal. But your body does not think this is normal. Your nervous system does not think this is normal. Deep inside the most ancient part of your brain, something is screaming that you are in danger, that you are isolated, that you are missing something critical, and yet you cannot stop. You are part of the most chemically stimulated generation in human history. And the strangest part? Most of you have no idea. Here is where it gets strange. Addiction, as your brain understands it, is not about substances. It never was. Addiction is about dopamine. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That is a myth that neuroscientists have been trying to kill for 2 decades. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It is the signal your brain fires when it believes a reward is coming, not when the reward arrives, before it arrives. Dr. Robert Sapolsky at Stanford has spent 30 years studying this. In one of his most famous experiments, he wired up the brains of primates and taught them that pressing a lever would deliver a food reward. Then he measured their dopamine. The spike did not come when the food arrived. It came the moment they saw the lever, the moment possibility entered the room. Now look at your phone. Every notification, every refresh, every scroll, each one is a lever. Each one fires the same ancient signal. Maybe this time there is something new. Maybe this time someone responded. Maybe this time something important happened. Your brain does not know the difference between a primate in a lab pressing a lever for food and you pulling down on a feed at 2 in the morning. The mechanism is identical. The chemistry is identical. The compulsion is identical. But here is the part that makes this generation different from every generation before it. For most of human history, dopamine had a natural ceiling. You could only hunt so many animals. You could only gather so many berries. You could only talk to so many people in a single day. Your nervous system had natural recovery time built into the rhythm of life itself. The stimulation ended when the sun went down, when the fire burned out, when the village went quiet. That ceiling no longer exists. Dr. Anna Lembke at Stanford, one of the world's leading addiction psychiatrists and author of a landmark study on behavioral addiction, calls this the pleasure-pain balance. Your brain, she explains, is constantly trying to maintain equilibrium. Every time dopamine spikes, your brain compensates by tilting the scale toward pain to restore balance. The higher the spike, the harder the crash. The more you stimulate, the more you need just to feel normal. Now imagine doing that 500 times a day, because that is what the average person in 2026 does, 500 or more microstimulation events per day. Notifications, clips, likes, comments, breaking news, a song that changes before it ends, a video that cuts before your attention fades. Each one a tiny lever pull, each one a tiny dopamine flicker, each one tilting the balance just slightly further toward the pain side. You are not lazy. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are a 200,000-year-old nervous system running software it was never designed to run, and the designers knew exactly what they were doing. In 2017, Sean Parker, the founding president of Facebook, sat down for an interview and said something that should have shaken the world. He said the people who built these platforms asked themselves one question from the very beginning. How do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible? The answer, he said, was a dopamine loop. Give people a little hit every time someone likes or comments on a post. Because it drives more content, it drives more interaction. We understood this consciously, and we did it anyway. He said this out loud, on the record, and then the world went back to scrolling. B.F. Skinner knew this would happen. Not about social media, but about the mechanism. In the 1930s, Skinner ran experiments on rats and discovered something that changed behavioral science forever. He called it variable ratio reinforcement. He found that the most powerful way to condition a behavior was not to reward it every time, and not to reward it never, but to reward it sometimes, unpredictably, randomly. A rat that gets a food pellet every time it presses a lever will press it calmly and then stop. But a rat that gets a pellet sometimes unpredictably at random will press that lever obsessively. It will press it more than it needs to. It will press it past hunger. It will press it past exhaustion. Pull down on your feed. Sometimes there is something new. sometimes there is not, sometimes something goes viral, sometimes nothing does. The schedule is variable. The ratio is ran.